Hey guys, so as per request, I've had more than a few guys in the comment section asking me about DDR4 optimization guide for the 5500. That's the R5 5500 CPU. As you guys may or may not know, the R5 5500 is basically a 5600G, an AMD Ryzen 5600G without integrated graphics. Okay, that's what a 5500 is. So, long story short, AMD didn't tell you this, okay, and they're not advertising this, but bear with me, okay. um, the memory controllers on the APUs, like the 5000 series APUs, is not the same memory controller that you find on Ryzen's 5600, for example, 5800 or 5800X or 5900X. It's not the same memory controller, okay? On the 5500, you get the same memory controller that you find on the 5600G, the 5700G, and so forth. Even on the 4000 series APUs, like the 4700, I think it was, they also have a beefier memory controller. That's what I'm trying to get at. The memory controller is not the same, okay, as with the rest of Ryzen 5000 series. The APUs carry a better memory controller, a beefier memory controller that you can push your RAM. If your RAM can take it, you can push that all the way up to 4400, depending what type of RAM you have. You know, your Silicon Lottery comes into play there a lot. But I will show you today I can show you two settings: 4,000 mega transfers per second at 18, 22, 22, 22, and also 4,200 at 18, 24, 24, 24. The reason why I would I would advise that you stay at 4,000 because you get the tighter timings. You know, there you do lose. You have to lose your timings at when you start reaching when you start going above 4,000. You have to start losing your timings. However, the reason why I'm telling you that I recommend the 4,000 is because I don't know what kit you have. I don't know what kit you have. Like, I don't know what ICs, you talking to you, you have in your RAM. Like, this is Samsung C die, okay? And it's not the best overclocking ICs in the world, but they do okay. I have to run these at 1.5 volts to get them all the way up to 4,200 megatransfers per second. Now, 1.5 volts on this kit is perfectly safe. You can buy kits at 1.55 and whatnot, around there. So 1.5 volts is perfectly safe for this kit. No issue. So you will have to raise up your voltage. Another thing you have to consider is your SoC. You will need to also tweak out your SoC voltage. You could leave it on auto depending on the type of motherboard that you have, but if you start experiencing instability, you may want to tweak out your SoC. So that's what we will be doing today. I will show you guys a few applications that you will need in order for this process to go smooth. Like, for example, you will need TM5. You will need that. You will also need Typhoon Burner, this guy right there. And I will post the link in the comment section where you can go and get it from my personal file that I've uploaded to the good internet. So yeah, just bear with me, bear with my mumbling and stumbling and repeating myself in horrible accent or whatever. And I will show you guys how to get this done, okay? If you have a 5500 Ryzen 5500 CPU, stick around because this is a little secret that AMD did not tell you, and I'm going to reveal it to you today. All right, so here we are in the desktop. Remember to download TM5, or you can also use memtest86, What your choice for memory testing is, I will leave that up to you guys, okay? You decide what you want to use. I use Testman 5 PCB Destroyer. That's just what I like. And as you can see right now, the RAM is just stock settings, okay? You can see it there. Not overclocked. Just horrible timings, or actually, these are not bad timings, but horrible frequency. Okay, let's go ahead and reboot into the BIOS. And just to show you that indeed, well, you will see it in the BIOS too, but this is what we're working with, okay? This is a 5600G, same as a 5500, same exact CPU. It's just minus the G, okay? It doesn't have integrated graphics, but it's the same thing. And you will also need Zen timings. Remember that. So yeah, download your favorite memory testing thing, and then Zen timings. And I will put a link to where to get Typhoon Burner safely. Windows will probably say it's a virus. It is not. It's just how Typhoon Burner works to get into your to draw your memory information. Okay, enough mumbling around. Let's get into the BIOS and get to what you guys are really here for. Okay, so this is as you can see, an MSI BIOS, but this applies to Gigabyte, Asus, ASRock, the same principles, okay? You want to go into the advanced options where you get all the goodies, all the ability to do tweaking. Okay, we're not going to touch the XMP. We're going to stay clear away from that, because you are doing now officially big boy overclocking on your RAM, okay? So forget that, and no XMP here to help you. If you are on an MSI BIOS, please disable fast boot, okay? You want slow memory training for this. In Asus, you can also, disable fast boot. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, this motherboard does pretty good with my where's this thing? My SoC voltage. Okay, it does a pretty good job at regulating my SoC voltage automatically, so I am not going to touch that. But you do want to adjust your RAM voltage. So here we're going to type 1.5 volts. Okay. Now remember, this is Samsung C die. All right. If you have Samsung B die, you won't need to go this high, because Samsung B die, if you don't already know, it's the best of the best, and you could easily achieve these speeds here at 1.45 volts, or something around there or whatnot. Micron E revision is also very good at high frequencies, so that's another good ICs. AJR by Hynix is also good at high frequencies. I like MFR too, but okay. Anyway, today is Samsung C die, right? 1.5 volts. And then what we will do here is tap onto, we're going to go, we're going to start at 4200, okay? And this is going to be trial and error. Remember, once you start crossing over 3800 mega transfers, the Infinity Fabric and the memory controller desync. So you have to now do this manually. So what is half of 4200? We're going to go to 21. Here we go. So we set that manually. And yeah, typically this does a pretty good job. So just for the sake of simplicity, we'll leave that alone, your memory controller. This is the Infinity Fabric. Okay, so now we got our voltage. We got our desired frequency. Okay, let's go into memory timings. Okay, so how do we find out? How do we know what your kit is capable of? The first thing that you need to do is start with your frequency, what your desired frequency is. And if the system doesn't reboot, once you do what I'm about to show you right now, it means that the frequency is just too high. Your kit is just, it's not going to cooperate, or your motherboard is just not it doesn't support those type of frequencies. So we're going to start pretty loose here. 20, 26, 26, 26, and 44. Okay. We're going to start with these settings here. Command rate, we're going to leave that on auto. This is AMD after all. Another thing that you need to tweak out is your processor on-die termination. This here, you want to set it to 60. That's where this kit likes to be. I don't know why. This here, you can set to 24. This one, your command driver strength, you want to set this one to 20. Your on-die termination driver strength, you want to set it to 24 and 24. Okay. So these settings here are very important for stability, so don't forget that. And if you experience instability and you're seeing that your voltages are not helping, your frequency was at one point stable, but now it's not, try tweaking this out. This right here is very important. So, okay, so now we've done everything that we, like the first step. We start with loose timings at our requested or desired frequency and at high voltage where you ought to be. So let's go ahead and save this and reboot and see what we get. All right, so we have reached the desktop. Let's take a look at our timings. And at this point, you're probably getting blue screens or maybe reboots or freezing, whatever. Don't worry. Go back into the BIOS and we'll go from there. But for now, if you made it this far, and you should have, I mean, these are pretty loose timings. And Micron E-Revision, Hynix, AJR, Samsung B die, Samsung C die, you should be able to make this, these speeds here. Let's go ahead and restart this because it did not load the information correctly. Okay, there we go. All right, so here you see 1.5 volts. Is that? Yeah, okay. 1.5 volts and your memory controller, your Infinity Fabric, and your, okay, yeah, so 4200 megahertz, mega transfers, and our loose timings. And this is what we're gonna tweak out now. Okay, so we got a boot, but is it stable? We're gonna try our frequency now. This test is to test the frequency. Okay, it's not to test our timings. We know that these times are very loose. So right now the idea is to test for frequency. Is our frequency stable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? So I'm going to skip this part here and I'll bring you to the end, or we pass the test because it's going to take a little while. All right, so we got a pass on this light short test. Remember, this is not the final test for stability to call it good and you get to gaming. No, this is just this test. What we just did right now, we're just testing frequency and is it safe to boot at these frequencies. That's all that was. Once you get all your tweaking done and you're happy where you want things to be, you should be testing with something stronger than this. Maybe OCC-T, I think it is, or something like that. While we're on the topic of this here, I want to show you what I mean by Samsung burn or Typhoon burner. You see here, you got your information, like what type of RAM you got. As you see here, 8 gigabit C die. Okay. It's okay for overclocking, but timings, it's loose timings. It's not the best. So, but it is what we got, and that's what we're going to work with. And I thought I'll bring the worst kit that I have, so that if you can do this, if I can do this with this crappy kit of RAM, can do this with E die, B die, a way better IC kit of RAM. So that's what the whole point is. Let's go ahead and reboot. So now we know 4200 is doable. Can I go to 41 and so forth? Yeah, I can, but I know this kit here in particular doesn't like it. I will need something better like E-Revision or B-Die or something. Yeah, that's not Samsung C-Die. All right, fellas. So let's go ahead and continue with our little journey here. So we know 1.5 volts. It's okay so far for this frequency. Now let's go ahead and try and tighten down our timing. So let's go with 18. Let's get a little gutsy here, a little see what happens. By the way, if you encounter instability when you go and lower these timings here, this is your guy. This guy right here may need to go to 26. Leave everything else as it is. TRCDRD is very finicky. These other timings here can go pretty low, but TRCDRD it's very finicky. So if you're getting instability, 9 out of 10 times is because of this guy right here. So you may want to loosen that up. I don't know where you have it now. So if it's at, for example, if it's at 20, take it to 22. Just an example. We're gonna take this to 24 and see what it does. So remember, we have started with these here first. We want to know what our timings, our primary timings look like. So I know that this kit, this is it for this kit, 18, 24, 24. One thing I do want to bring up is that, okay, you're thinking, that's pretty loose, like 18, 24, 24, 24. Not in this situation. The reason why I say that is because when you're this high frequency, when you're this high frequency, these timings here kind of become irrelevant, because now your Infinity Fabric and your memory controller they're pretty high. Okay, so this right here will more than make up for the latency here. And actually at 4200, this is not bad. Typically kits at this speed, they're at 26, around there. So 24 is not bad at all. Now, our real boost in performance in gaming is going to come from when we start tweaking these out right here. Okay, and these two here. So for now, we're going to test these settings here just to see if they are stable. We'll close this. And I'll get back to you at the end of this test. All right, guys, so we have reached the end of this test. And as you can see, it has passed. Remember, like I said, this is just a quick test to test our, stability for boot. And here we are, 4200. So now we know that these settings here will get us into Windows, okay? And the little short test here, it's reliable, but you want to go with something higher than this, something better, more lengthier, Okay, now here's one thing you have to remember. Let's go ahead and reboot. Now that you have tweaked out your voltage, your frequency, and your primary timings, you have to save this first step. So create a profile in the BIOS, okay, for what you have done. So that way you don't, so we'll just name it 4200, okay? And save your profile for, yes. Okay, the reason why you want to do this is because now things are gonna get pretty, pretty spicy. Okay, so now we're going into the sub-timing division of the whole overclocking thing. Here's where trial and error comes in. This is where things are going to be a little difficult. And so having a profile that you can go back to and start from where you left off is very helpful, because if you have to reset your BIOS, you don't want to have to go and input everything start from the beginning all over again. Forget that. Create a profile where you left off, and then if things go wrong here, like the system is not starting, you have to reset the BIOS, or you have an instability, just load your profile that you created, and you start from there. Okay, TRC, this right here, you do want to get it lower than 97. How about we start with 78? Yeah, I think that will be pretty safe. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's restart. And with these subtimings, the way I like to do it, I don't like to do this in groups. I want to change. A lot of them are going to be one by one. Some are going to be in sets of twos because they're linked together, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So TRC, this is important. The lower, the better for your latency, you know, especially when you're playing games. Okay, 72, this is what I'm talking about. 72 is not stable. So, or 78. So we're gonna go maybe with, we try 84. And if you don't already know, to get into the BIOS, you just gotta keep on tapping delete on your keyboard. And I shouldn't have to tell you this if you're watching this video. Please, 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 please. Okay, so we go with 84. Let's see what that gives us. If we can make it to the desktop at 84, we'll run a quick memory test and continue from there. And like I said, this is a lengthy process, and you're just gonna have to be patient. You could leave your TRC on auto, but you're gonna be leaving a lot of performance on the table. You don't want to do that. Okay, so see what I mean? Here we are. But this doesn't mean that this is stable either. So let's see, where are we? Okay, 84. That's where we set it at. 84. I hope that this thing is focusing correctly. Steam, you know what? You're making me mad. Let's go ahead and stop this from booting. Disable. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and test. Now we're testing our TRC. That's what this whole test is going to be about. How is our TRC? Is it stable? Is it not? We'll find out. Okay, we got a system freeze. So 84 is not stable. Let's go ahead and try something else. All right, we're back in the BIOS. How about we try, let's see, oops. Let's go with 88. Yeah, let's go with 88. And I think that should pass. Let's try that. Okay, so we got a pass on our short test. And we're going to save now our first subtiming of 88 on top of our profile, so we can start building that profile that we want. All right, let's get to our profile. We're going to save our latest change, and now we continue with the tweaking. All right, so we determined that 88 is a safe starting point for TRC. Okay, so now our TRFC. This is very important, especially for AMD. You want to lower this as low as possible. I am going to get very risky here and try 600. I don't know what CDI likes, so let's go with that. These right here you can leave alone. They're not going to make any difference for you. So let's go and try 600. Try 600, see if that's stable. And nope, 600 was not stable. So we load our profile. Now let's go back and see if maybe, see, perhaps, let's hit 680 will be stable. I don't know. Let's try it. That clicking you might be hearing is my hard drive going bad, but I don't care. I have it backed up. I'm going to use it till the wheels fall off. Alrighty. Made it to the desktop. That's a step forward. Waiting for my network to connect. I'm on Wi-Fi. Alright, here we go. I don't do any online gaming, so it doesn't matter to me. Okay. So you can see 680. And we'll bring this here. And now we're going to test our TRFC. TRFC is very sensitive to temperature. So if you see that you start getting memory errors, it's because your memory is getting a little bit toasty. So you're gonna have to relax your TRFC. Not that it is overheating, it's just TRFC is just, it's just the way it is. I'll get back to you when this is done. Nope, we got a blue screen of death. So we're gonna set it to 700. Okay, we are on the desktop. And again, waiting for our network to connect. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. I wish I could go as fast as you guys think, but that's not the way this goes. All right, so we're just gonna start this test. I'll be right back when it is done. Right, so 700 is stable. One thing I do have to mention also about TRFC, like I said, it's sensitive to temperature. So once you have had everything tuned, 700, like if I was to be running this kit, I would set this more like to 720 or 730, just to be safe, because as you are playing games and the day goes by, things will start to heat up. It's just normal operations. So this might come an issue, and you might start seeing restarts, after playing a game for so long, and it's typically this right here. So if that happens, bump it up. Increments of 20 is what I would say. Okay, let's get back into the BIOS. Okay, so next on the list, we got our TRDS and TRDL and our TFAW. These three here are connected, they're intertwined, and these are very important for latency. Typically, you want your TRDS as low as possible. Automatically here, you got to set to 10. I would go with 6 and try that. I'll leave this one here at 10. TFAW. Remember, TFAW is 4 times whatever your TRRDS is. So here you want this to be at 24. So we'll set it to 24, and hopefully this is stable. If not, we'll find out right now. All right, we've got a boot. That's a good sign. And TRDS and TRDL and TFAW, they're very, very important, especially if you're a gamer, for latency. So that there, you do want to make sure that you tweak that out. Now, it's not for sure that it's stable yet, so bear with me here. Let this thing, there we go. If I start this without the network, it'll just give me a stupid error about updates, and I hate that thing. Okay, so as you can see, we got our TRDS 6, TRDL 10, TFAW 24. Let's see if this is stable, and I'll be back with you guys. Okay, so our testing is complete, and I don't know if you guys can see that there, but even the timing that it takes now for the test to be completed has been reduced by almost half. So we're on the right track here. Okay, now we got only one last thing that we need to tweak out, and that's our SCLs. So let's get back into the BIOS and do just that. All right, let's go and do our last adjustment here. Set this to 4, and actually one more. Don't tweak these other ones. They're already, you can just leave those alone. Our tech, where is it at? Did I skip that? Yeah, there we go. Set this to 1. Not that you really need to, but I do it anyway. Okay, so let's reboot and see how that goes. All right, we're back on the desktop. So far, so good. Let's wait for our network. Stupid thing. Okay, well, it did work a little bit, I guess. Okay, so our SCL are set to 4. This is it. This is our final settings for me, like, for this kit. And I hope that this serves as an example, like the steps that you would want to take if you want to go, and do some memory overclocking. Follow these steps. Remember, you got to test. I would test in the same sequence that I did. Don't test everything all at once, because then you won't know what exactly is your weak link, So by doing testing one at a time, like, that'll give you an idea, like, as to what might be the problem, and yeah, it'll just make your life a lot easier. So I'll get back to you when this test is done. Okay, so our test has finished, is concluded, and as you can see, again, the timing has been significantly reduced. Like, this thing is running like a goat now. All right, so let me, you know what? I'm not even going to mess with any CPU overclocking. I'm going to leave it as default as it is, and even at that, let's run IDA64 and see what our memory is looking like. Okay, let's see, where is this thing? Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Oops. Okay, so let's run a quick test and see how our memory is running. Wow, 61 or almost 62,000 megabytes. Read, 60,000 write. Holy cow. 64, not bad. Not bad, considering I haven't even, like, overclocked the CPU. All right, I'm gonna leave the video here, guys. I hope this was helpful. Maybe it clears some things up about memory overclocking on the 5500 or 5600G CPU or CPUs. And I hope this was helpful. See you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.